All right, everybody. The moment you've all been waiting for. Where do I start? The night that I seen the video of him being exposed, I was up on top of the mountain on my parcel, the parcel that was supposed to be mine. And I had one little bar, and I was able to get some of the video loaded to go show Offended Outcast. And so I took it down, and he sat on the porch and watched some of it, and there was almost no emotion to it. There was no expression on his face. He was just deadpan, which I guess, it's almost like a deer in headlights moment. But the very next morning, I packed up all of my things that was up there and come back down, and he packed up the 3 little chihuahuas and Screwball and some of his belongings, and he left. He was gone. Either that day or the next day, there was somebody that come through on the other side of the water and stopped and come up to a clearing, seen me sitting on the porch, and started cussing and hooping and hollering. Went further down the path and started shooting. At that point, I became very paranoid and worried because ultimately, inevitably, I didn't know what people would do, and didn't know where he was or what he was doing. The dogs at night would act really funny, almost like they were seeing people out there, acting in ways that they'd never act since we'd been down there. And so me and my fiance pretty much stayed inside the cabin. We didn't want to even be out on the porch, or even going out to start the generator or get something was scary. So I ended up getting a phone call out, and Raymond had told me that him and Michael Carmichael were on the way, that they would be there in a day. And so the next day, I believe it was, or so, I got a hold of them. He sent me an address to come here, and it was an Airbnb 45 minutes away. When I get there, he's with Michael Carmichael, and he's changed his appearance. I didn't even recognize him, Offended Outcast, sitting on the porch. And Michael Carmichael comes out, and he's kind of asking me, questioning me, talking about this and talking about that, and then commissions me and tells me to start loading this stuff up. And I'm talking about bulletproof vests, camouflage, guns, weapons, bows, crossbows, stuff that I've never seen before. And so he said, all right, well, we're going to be coming in at night, in the cover of night. We're going to be on the four-wheeler side by side. And they rode the four-wheeler and side by side all the way out to the property, through some treacherous spots and stuff or whatever. I don't know. I wasn't there. But they showed up right before the sun's going down. We were at the point they showed up, we was having to use flashlights. And so they end up, we finally get the four-wheeler and side by side and everything to the cabin. And I'm not talking about a handgun and a rifle. I'm talking about duffel bags full of guns, an arsenal. Duffel bags full of ammunition, duffel bags full of clips, bulletproof vests for everybody. And I mean, as you know, everybody knows I'm a felon. And I'm even maybe exposing myself to potential harm here and being prosecuted for this because I was around this. But in the given situation, I had no choice. This man proceeded to have us do all of this, and by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm so tired that I'm tired and scared and worried. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going to happen and what's about to happen, that I got virtually no sleep. And so the next morning, there's this meeting on the front porch. It's me, my fiance, Raymond, and Michael Carmichael. And if you don't know who Michael Carmichael is, if you remember on Raymond Krepp's channel, we did multiple interviews and videos on Check a Vet, which is a nonprofit organization for veteran suicide. Something else that Raymond Krepp did was he did books for Check a Vet. He made it look right. I don't know. I don't know if he was laundering the money. I don't know if he was, what he was doing with it, but he was obviously doing something with the funds and money that was coming in. And then he sent it to another guy. I don't know. I don't know what that is about. But I do know that Michael Carmichael has an arsenal of weapons. I know that he has multiple vehicles and campers and like all this equipment and stuff. And also he was a Marine and did all this thing in the military and like got all these credentials and stuff. And so like presumably like he's got some pull, he's got rank, he's got, you know, the ability to have thermal weapons, you know, like scopes with thermals on them that can see an insect crawling up a tree. And in my experience, I've never dealt with that. Like I went hunting, you know, I went squirrel hunting, rabbit hunting, shot a deer, you know, but the next morning we're having a meeting on the porch, and like he's talking about, oh, we're setting up a sniper position, we're going to put a blind here and a blind here, we've got these solar lights, we're going to get these cameras going, and I've got a bad back, I'm not here to be the workhorse, I'm not here to do this, I brought the equipment and you all have got to do all this. Well, I know the old man, Raymond Krepp, isn't going to do shit because he hasn't done shit. You know, I've done it all thus far. And then I'm looking at my fiance with her 90-pound self, and I'm thinking, I've got to do all this. I've got to be the one that continuously has to do all the work. And then the conversation arose of, I don't really remember how it was asked. It was kind of like, okay, pretty much what was asked is like, how come we don't want to be separated, me and my fiance? For one, we're in the middle of the woods. We've got potential threats on our life because we're involved with this, and that we are, you know, we're together, like, you know, and also, you know, she didn't really know them, didn't know him, and be without each other, just in case something happened. And so it was basically told to me that, oh, if we don't get separated and we don't split up and separate, that none of it would work. And like, basically Michael Carmichael talked to me like a dog. Like he was talking to me like I was like we was in the military and I was in boot camp and he was my drill instructor, and he was like, oh, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And if you don't do this, it doesn't work. And so I was like, yes, sir, you know, yes, sir. And so needless to say, this conversation goes on. It's all right. We're going to do this. We set out a plan, you know, Raymond's writing notes and taking notes down on everything we do. And then they're like, okay, well, our rendezvous point 1 and rendezvous point 2, and like really like going into grain with stuff, like really making a plan to protect, you know, the homestead. And like we break the meeting and it's like, it's okay, now we're doing a supply run. Jeb, you go do the supply run. Your fiance will stay here with us. And I was like, no, that's not happening. I said, we're not doing that. She's not going to leave my side. Like I told them that. I said, she's not going to leave my side. And Michael Carmichael looks at me and says, oh, well, no. He looked at Raymond and said, oh, Raymond, if he's not going to separate, maybe you need to think about y'all's relationship together and your friendship, about whether or not, why they're not separating, like, and looks at my fiance and says, is it because of him being a registered sex offender, and like starts questioning her. And he was like, well, if y'all don't separate and you don't go do a supply run and she stays here and helps me do what I need to do, then this is all shot to shit and I'm packing up my shit and leaving. And I looked at him and I said, she's not going to leave my side. And he said, all right, let's pack it all up. He said, get this, start getting this. And at that point, I got a really, really, really bad feeling. Like I just did not like it. And in that situation, like I felt like my discernment kicked in and I needed to get away. And I was not about to put myself in a situation to where somebody didn't get what they want and then want to do whatever they had to do to get what they wanted. In the midst of that, there was somebody that supposedly had a parcel out there that showed up, and Michael Carmichael straight lied to this guy and said, oh yeah, he's on the registry for doing things with a 16-year-old. We all know that it wasn't a 16-year-old, that it was a 13-year-old. So I clearly watched him and heard him lie to this man. So right there, that was kind of a red flag for me. But also, why is a man of his ranking, his stature, that has been in the military and has this nonprofit organization and does all the things that he supposedly is, in so much support towards Raymond Krebs? And then I got to thinking, like, why is it such a big deal for us to separate? Why does the whole plan, and why would you go through the trouble to bring everything that they brought? And I have pictures, by the way. I have pictures of what was brought and video of some of the things that was said. I won't disclose those on the channel just because I believe, once again, like I said, I may be incriminating myself, but that is okay. But everything got shot to shit because we couldn't be separated. All right, and so because we couldn't be separated, Michael Carmichael and Raymond Krebs pack up all their guns and ammunition and everything that they bring and leave because, like I said, we wouldn't be separated. Like, why is everything and all the plan and all the preparation in bringing all the guns and everything like he did severs that? Why does it all get stopped and they leave because we can't be separated? Why is that? I don't know why that Michael Carmichael had so much support towards Raymond Krebs in the whole situation, and like even lied about, what really happened. And that's why it was so scary and scaring for the whole situation. The next day, I was packing up things because Raymond left, and he come back. He said, oh, I'll be back in a few days. After Michael and him had packed up all the guns and left, he had come back, probably an hour, 2 hours later and said, oh, I'll be back in a few days. And so I'm like, oh, I'm getting out of here. And so I packed up what I could and was packing up what I could. And 3 masked men showed up as I'm packing up. And they questioned me. They had me and my fiance on our knees. And I had 2 shots fired over my head, like one on each side. And like my ears still kind of ring from it. And it's kind of hard to hear. But like they questioned me. They had my phone. And I think the only thing that saved my life was that the day before, I had gotten a message out to 3 different people to make sure that my daughter knew that I loved her and that I wanted to see her and that I was coming, that she needed to expect me. I really believe that's the only thing that saved my life. And I was escorted out of the property at gunpoint. I don't know who these people were. They were wearing masks, and they all 3 looked identical. They almost talked like they were law enforcement or military personnel. And like I said, they all had the same identical clothing on, from their masks all the way down to their boots. And that was scary in itself. I left, and I was probably about an hour 30 minutes, maybe 2 hours away from the property, and I set up the tent. And there was 2 more people that showed up and made me do the video that you saw. I believe I know who those 2 people were. I will not give accusations to who I think those 2 people were. But I have gotten to a point where I feel like I'm safe enough to put this video out and make this video. I am now putting myself under a witness protection program. Like I've made plans and done plans, and the things I've done in the past few days here have strictly been to like keep people off my trail, so to speak. Like if I am being followed or they are tracking me or trying to make sure I don't expose what was happening or what is going on with everything that was done. That's why it fell apart. That's why I no longer want to be a part of Raymond George Krebs. Yes, he is a registered sex offender and what he did was wrong, but because you had somebody come with an arsenal of weapons that wanted to separate me and my fiance from each other for whatever reason. I have no idea what that reason is. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense, but I'll let you guys put that together. I know that I'll probably get some rash, and Michael Carmichael and Raymond Krebs aren't going to like this. But I will answer any and all questions if I can. But I really think that some shady stuff went on years ago when that whole case happened. I do believe that maybe somebody else was involved, and maybe that's why he backed Raymond Krebs so much. I don't know these people. I know very little of them, and I believe I put myself in a dangerous situation. I love you all. If I don't post, come looking for me. If there's somebody out there that I could correspond with, that I could trust, and still I don't know if I could trust you, but if there's somebody that I could just let know where I'm at, some way, shape, form, or fashion, that way, if I do not post and you do not see me on this channel, something happened to me. Love y'all. Well, I had to get a light out because it got dark. I wanted to add this little bit at the end here just to let everybody know that this video here is the last video that I do on the whole situation. I am moving forward, upward, and onward. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to keep reliving it. I don't want to keep thinking about it. And I want to move forward in a positive way. I want everybody to know that I'm safe for right now. And I want to move forward with my channel and what I want to do with it. And what I would like to do is just to continue to share my journey, share some thoughts and wisdom that I've carried in my years. I don't expect to be a big YouTuber. I don't expect to make thousands and thousands upon thousands of dollars like Raymond Krebs did. I don't expect that. I just almost expect to build some friendships and relationships along the way and talk and be amongst like-minded people. I want positive, wholesome feedback. I want this to be a place where people can come and feel comfortable to share and speak on the things that they're dealing with. And also I want to show how I have lived my life and will continue to live my life. As I've been going through the past few days here, I've been taking some pictures and videos and stuff of my journey, because I do want to protect where I'm at and not disclose where I'm at. I'll wait to post a lot of that just because it'll be, I'll be away from that and where I'm at. Like I took some pictures today of where we walked up and got some food and with the dogs and everything. We took some pictures of some really cool stuff. Can't wait to show you guys. But I wanted to let you know on the tail end of this, if you're still watching, like, comment, share, subscribe, and continue on this journey with us. That's all, folks.